What is franchise consulting? What does a franchise consultant do? At the base level, franchise consulting is helping people that have an interest in a means to start a business, explore franchising as that option to help them get into a particular opportunity. It's marrying people with the right businesses that fit their goals, their lifestyle, geographical preference, and helping them go through a vetting process that they're unfamiliar with largely, giving them tools and things that can help them along the way. And so that's what I do. The other aspect of what I do is I love working with companies, business owners, and helping them franchise their business as well. And that's what I've done over the span of 28 years. The process that I use is no pressure. I don't want people to feel like they're being pushed in a direction or sent a certain way. I'm never going to make somebody own a franchise. I'm not going to make them ready to own a franchise. They have to want it. They have to want to pursue something, make a change in their life. Hopefully it will be for the better, and most of the time it is. Failure rates with franchises are relatively low. Nothing's guaranteed, but ultimately, if you do the proper background, you do the proper education and information gathering on the front end, then you're setting yourself up for success. The process I use breaks down into about 3 steps for my part of it, which is I have an initial call with someone, gauge their interest, gauge their qualifications, and ultimately make sure that it's a good fit for us to work together, that they are motivated, have the resources available to be able to do something sooner rather than later. And 100% of my service is free to the folks that I engage with. Working with me and leveraging my 30 years of experience is at no cost to them. And then from there, I have 2 simple forms I ask people to complete. They fill out a confidential questionnaire that comes directly to me and a personality profiling survey. And so then from there, we set up a 1-hour Zoom call so we can review the information they submitted. I can educate them and provide some background and experience related to franchising and how it works and the process that we're going to go through. And more importantly, it's going over the information that was collected that they submitted to me and making sure that, I understand exactly what they're trying to achieve. What are their goals? What are their long-term, short-term goals? What is their background and experience? What are their skills? More importantly, what are their transferable skills that would apply to business ownership? How involved do they want to be in the business? Where do they want to operate the business? All these things that I need in order to go back and research potential brands to present to people as franchise options to consider. The other purpose of the qualifying interview is to understand which industries they might be open to looking into. I have franchise concepts that span pretty much every industry you can think of. And so it's narrowing that down so I don't have so large of a search to get into. And oftentimes I'll present some things that people hadn't thought of or hadn't mentioned, but that's where my experience and my background comes in, and the access to over 600 companies to investigate for people. It eliminates them having to go and inquire about a bunch of different companies I tell them about. So the next step after the qualifying interview, I will take them through a brand presentation. So normally after about a week, I've done my research and I come back and we get on another an hour and a half long Zoom call, and we'll go over the brands that I found that would fit all their needs and check off, as many of the boxes as we discovered in the qualifying interview. And so I normally present around 6 brands. I like to keep it smaller in terms of, so it's not too overwhelming for people. And then the ultimate goal during the brand presentation is I'm not the subject matter expert. It's just to introduce them to different ideas, and they pick 1, 2, or 3 that they want to investigate. Once they determine which franchises they want to look into, I make a direct referral to that brand. So they begin conversations directly with the franchisor's representative and they start the process. But this introduction by me directly to these companies eliminates someone having to go out on a website, fill out a bunch of forms over and over with their contact information and getting bombarded with people emailing and calling and reaching out. Each brand, will engage them in the process right away. And then it's a matter of just going through the franchisor's process. I continue to work with the people that I introduce to the brands on an ongoing basis, and I provide them with information and details of all the different steps they're going to go through. Ultimately, I work work with them as they move through the process, because it's a mutual approval process in working with franchisors. Just because someone likes a brand and someone is introduced to a brand doesn't mean they get it automatically. The people I work with are vetting the companies to see if they're a good fit for them. The franchisors are doing the same with the candidates. They want to make sure if they have to support and work with this individual or individuals on a long-term basis, a contract term for a franchise agreement can easily be 10 years. They want to make sure it's going to be a good fit and a good partner. That's one of the things that's great about direct access to these franchise companies is I have all the background and information that is needed to understand who are they looking for, who's a good franchisee, who's going to be a good fit, what are the roles that the owner typically has, whether it's owner-operated or semi-passive or even executive model. So basically, I help them with here's questions you can ask a franchisor, here's questions you can ask the franchisee. I can guide them as they move through that process to really help them understand what they're going to go through, make sure they're getting the information they need. So hopefully they can figure out, is this franchise right for me or not? And if it's not, that's okay. I have 600 some odd brands that we can look at. That's why I limit the number to 1, 2, or 3 options that are going to be the best, their top picks. And then we move through that process, and it's a process of elimination to where hopefully they find one brand that they like and they move forward and acquire that franchise by signing a franchise agreement and paying the initial franchise fee.